May we then move on? And it's, I think, on a paper which picks up a number of the themes on which we've just been focused, Ian, to the paper on the mandate, planning guidance and assessment framework for CCGs.
Thank you very much, Chair. In taking these three subjects together, we're emphasising the opportunity for better alignment between the mandate, NHS planning, and the way in which we assess local health systems. A few observations first on the mandate. Compared to the current mandate, it is shorter, clearer. Secondly, it reflects the forward view. Thirdly, it, I think, helpfully includes a stronger focus on long-term objectives for 2020, and these objectives are phased in a way that is consistent with the spending review. And then fourthly, to note that it sets objectives for the wider NHS system, including other arm's length bodies. So it's not just a mandate in respect of NHS England's own narrow functions. Turning to the planning guidance, it will reflect the mandate and give expression to it. It's a shared endeavour with our arm's length body partners, including, of course, but not limited to NHS Improvement. Our aspiration is for the core planning guidance to be the shortest ever, and I can confirm that we are on track to achieve this. Perhaps the most significant point is that we are going to be emphasising local system leadership and the primacy of planning by place rather than by individual institution. We are looking for two plans: a strategic whole system sustainability and transformation plan for the period of October 2016 to March 2021 for agreement by NHS England and NHS Improvement by July of next year. And this is intended as a local blueprint for delivering the forward view and achieving financial sustainability. And then a second plan, which is the 2016 to 17 operational plan by individual organisation. To emphasise the salience of those strategic plans and also achieve some greater coherence between different vertical national programmes within a place, we're intending that the quality of the sustainability and transformation plans will be determining the phasing of transformation funding for 2017 to 18 onwards. And then the final point I'd make on the planning guidance is that we will seek to set out a short list of national must-dos for 2016 to 17. And then finally, Chair, we will look to align the way we assess CCGs and indeed local health systems through a revised local health system improvement and assessment framework, which is what has been referred to as a CCG scorecard, and we'll be looking to finalise that with our partners. We're developing it with CCGs and the full range of other stakeholders, and to consult on that in January of next year. So I invite the board to consider the proposed approach that we're taking.
Thank you very much, Ian. May I invite questions, comments to Ian? No?
Ian, we talked in this forum and others about the significance to the 5-year forward view over the next 5 years of implementing the vanguards, the pioneers, the new models of care. I'm curious as to what the planning guidance will say, given this is the first time they're being asked to plan 5 years ahead, to all those places in the country that are not a vanguard and not a pioneer, and not yet a place where there is an active transformational initiative of that kind, because that's the majority of the country. In fact, the majority of the places are not vanguards as yet. What is the planning guidance going to say? Is it going to ask those places to be aggressive in their consideration of how they might become aligned to new models of care, or is it going to be silent on that question?
Thank you, Noel. That's a very important question. I think at the heart of the local sustainability and transformation plans is what does this mean for your local geography? What are the overall shape of services? There's an element here of describing the plane as well as some of the component parts of the plane, whether that's the mental health piece or implementing the cancer task force. And we are asking all systems to think through how they wish to implement the new care models. If I could go back to my earlier comment on the objectives within the mandate and the phasing of the spending review, we also need to recognise that there are some aspects of transformation funding which will not be sufficient to achieve full national rollout by 2020-2021. And so, for example, in line with the statement in the forward view itself, that the majority of the country could be covered by new care models within that period, that statement is reflected as part of the 2020 objectives in the mandate, and in turn will be reflected here. So there will be some parts of the country that will be able to go faster and receive greater central funding than others.
Here, it's a minuscule point, but there, of course, if you're not a pioneer and you're not a vanguard, it doesn't mean you're not doing new models of care and transformation. Sure.
And indeed, many parts of the country are cracking on with this, and I'm always surprised, very pleasantly surprised by the number of unofficial vanguards who are making very good progress right across the country.
I think what we can say in relation to these documents, first, so far as the mandate is concerned, it is, I think, now turning into a document that can be meaningful for us. I think, secondly, it is the product of a highly iterative process across government and between us and government. Productive, well, mainly productive, and I think there has been some settlement. It has compelled the settlement and the crystallization of a number of key points about accountability and responsibility and ambition, and I think we should certainly, as a board, welcome the mandate that we now have in its current form. So far as planning guidance is concerned, the board's going to need to give a lot of further attention to the detail of the planning guidance, and we'll work further on that prior to its publication. Can I invite any other comments or questions to Ian on this item?
In the sense that it's evidence of action, the right rhetoric and the right processes in place going to hopefully drive the right behaviours, which is the major challenge, I think. My mind turns to outcomes and how we, what mechanisms we're putting in place to ensure that the outcome of this is not just plans, but actually some shift in what people receive in terms of health and social care. And that seems to me to be a significant challenge in terms of, a planning guidance that meets the mandate, but then knowing that we've actually pulled it all together in some way. Seems a bit of seems like we've got work to do there.
Yes.
I might be wrong, but it seems fairly clear to me. Absolutely, Victor. I think achieving a coherent plan is only part of the story. And we would also, I think, need to emphasise to local systems, don't think that you can't make progress now before July in cracking on and doing the things that you are planning to do anyway. I think there's further work that we are intending across NHS England and with our partners on what then the milestones and the actions set out in the plans will be, and then how local systems can be confident that they're making progress towards their goals, and that the implementation of those plans is having an effect on outcomes, including in relation to tackling local inequalities in their area.
Right. Well, thank you. On that basis, could I ask the board, first of all, to endorse the general approach that is outlined in Ian's paper and in his presentation, and secondly, to delegate to the Chief Executive and me the authority to finalise the form of the planning guidance, which we have to do, obviously, in consultation with the agreement of the arm's length body, other arm's length bodies, because this is a pan arm's length body planning guidance, as it has been in previous years. Colleagues content to do that? Good. Thank you very much.